Greetings, I'm Paul, and this is the channel that I'm on. And this is the topic that I will be considering or offering for you to consider. Phrasing it as, the method doesn't matter much, but commitment counts. I like alliteration, so I went with those words. Method doesn't matter. That's the main message, my mates. Okay, so I'll finish. That will be the end of my alliteration flourish, I think. No guarantees. So what I say when I say method, what do I mean? I mean the process that you engage to enact a change in the context of this channel. Stop recovering, start living. So this week I've had, the last 3 days, there have been synchronicities that have led me to this point where I want to share this topic. If you're not familiar with synchronicities, my personal definition of synchronicities is messages from source or creation or nature or spirit, however you want to call it. Something from a higher level, a higher vibration, or a different awareness than what we're used to. It could I think potentially it's probably just our spirit, our true self, making us aware of something. But it could be I don't know where it comes from. But it's the little things that you look at as coincidences, or maybe not you, but generally people will look at as coincidences and say, oh, that's funny, that just came up yesterday out of the blue. And then you'll find yourself hearing about the same topic that's not a regular occurrence in your life from multiple sources within a short period of time. And so the method doesn't matter has been something I've talked about in the past. And it was something that I discovered it was probably 2 years ago now. I was going through a meditation from Joe Dispenza, a guided meditation. A friend of mine is all about, well, I don't say all about, but has utilized the Joe Dispenza's meditation process to great effect in their life. And so they were telling me about it and said, get this meditation and try it out. And so I was doing that. And while I was doing it, I realized that it's easy to feel something powerful from anything, and that it isn't necessarily that modality that's doing it for you. It's something in your mind, placebo effect, essentially. So Joe Dispenza has a book called "You Are the Placebo," and I think that's pretty fantastic, and it explains it really well for me. That it doesn't matter so much what method we use, but it's about whether or not we're committed to that method. So Monday, so that was a couple years ago. I had that, so it's not something that is new to me, but it's not something that's been really at the top of my thought, or at least I haven't been aware of it as much. But Monday, I was having a conversation with the same friend, and they were telling me about some other thing that they're studying right now, and I thought, this doesn't do it for me. I'm not interested. So I said it again. The method doesn't matter, because for me, over the last 2 weeks, I've been doing qigong, which is a spiritual practice, qi energy. So you're helping the energy to flow through your body, the energy of creation, of life force. Exercises to help that flow. And so I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. I've done that off and on over the last couple of years since I discovered it, and I've enjoyed it in the moment, but I haven't really practiced it consistently, and so I haven't seen the benefits of it, the real benefits, the true benefits of it. And so now, as those last couple of weeks, I've been practicing it consistently. I've been doing a routine in the morning and in the evening, and sometimes another one throughout the day, but I'm more mindful of it, I'm more aware of it, and I'm consistent in the practice of it. I'm committed to it. And as I've been doing this last few weeks, I've realized more recently, within the last week or so, that I'm experiencing something different. My awareness has changed, and my experience through the day is different. For example, Monday I was doing my taxes through TurboTax, and I imported information from somewhere, one of my forms, and the field, the information was a decimal, and The field apparently in TurboTax won't allow decimals. It has to be greater than 1 or nothing. But because another field was checked, it checked this box that I couldn't uncheck. And so I kept going through this review process. Every time I get through another section, it would send me back to this review process, and it would send me to this field. And I looked through the paper, and I found what it should be. It should be 48 cents, but it won't let me put in 48 cents. And it says if it's the whole amount, leave it blank. Well, it was the whole amount, but I couldn't leave it blank. And so it was this ridiculous, got stuck in the code framework of this one field. And because of that one field, I wasn't able to e-file my federal stuff. And because I wasn't able to e-file my federal stuff and I owed money on my state, I couldn't e-file my state stuff until my federal was filed. So, and then it took me some time to figure this out, several reviews, and every time you go back a step, you got to review the stuff again. And it took a little while to get to the point where I realized, okay, well, I'm going to have to print them both out and send them in the mail. And not a big deal. But all day long, so I ran out of time Monday to get it done before I had to go home. And so all evening I kept thinking about, that is frustrating. And it felt like my body was trying to get upset. It was trying to become depressed and frustrated over this thing and really be angry that it wasn't a simple click, e-file, done. But it wouldn't happen. My body wouldn't allow it. My mind wouldn't, or my spirit. I don't know what parts were at war here, but there was definitely a battle going on where my routine, my ego, who's used to the routine, was saying, this is the kind of thing that makes you angry, and you take it out. Not aggressive, I'm not over the top, but like I brood. I put on the eye makeup and listen to emo. No, I don't do that. I do like emo music, but I skulk and brood. That's my usual behavior. And so I felt like it was trying to get me into that mindset and that mode again, but I refused. Or I didn't refuse, I didn't resist it, I just didn't need to. Because I was at a different level. And so it was interesting. But so for me, that is evidence that the practice of qigong is working for me, because I'm in this mindset where it's okay. It's frustrating, but what's the big deal? So I went and got a couple of envelopes from the post office that I can put the papers in, mailed them off today. Everything's fine. Everything's great. No problems. The only problem is that I actually paid the taxes, and I'm opposed to that on a level. But other than that, there's no problem here. And so. So anyway, that's just to illustrate that qigong is working for me. But you don't need to know that, right? But now you do. But so in this conversation, this was before this all happened, but I was having this conversation with my friend, and I said, the method doesn't matter. You got your method, I got my method. You got the Joe Dispenza stuff, I got qigong. Another friend of ours has got yoga, and we've over the last couple of years, each of us seems to have been on this like spiritual path, and we've all come to a point where we feel we're exploring a lot of the same topics. We're reading some of the same books and authors and talking about the same things. We're all in counseling practices, so we're all, we have some similarities going on there, but we've each found our own method to get to this self-actualization point, I guess, to borrow from Abraham Maslow. And so I feel like I'm becoming actualized. It's not like, he's got the pyramid. It's like this, then this, then this, then this. If you don't have this, you can't get to this. And I think that's true overall, generally. But specifically, I think there are elements where, like, you've got, maybe you're missing some of the big gap on this bottom layer, but you got this, and that's enough to stand on to build this. And so you build this little tiny step ladder over here while you're still working on some stuff over here. So I think that that's possible. And I think that would account for maybe some of the art that we see from people who, if you're objectively, or whatever, you're taking a step back and looking at them on a macro, and saying, boy, they don't seem to have some of these basic levels met. How can they become actualized in their art? Well, maybe because they got enough to get to that point, and their life is out of balance, perhaps. No judgment, just maybe that their life is out of balance, but it's shifted in a way that they're able to still hit that actualization. And so maybe that's, I feel like, where maybe I am on some of these things. But that's all speculation. So I'm squinting at the timer because I have my glasses on. 9.5 minutes. All right, let's speed this thing up. Let's actually get to the point. What was it? What did I call this thing again? The method doesn't matter as much as commitment counts. So, right, so synchronicity. So that was Monday, that came up. And then Tuesday, I saw something that I think was related to this, and then I put it in my phone. There was something else though. Nah, that wasn't it. That was a good quote, but I wasn't. Oh, I was reading in the 5 levels of attachment, which I did my yesterday's podcast. I tried to make it about that, failed miserably. Next week's podcast episode will be on the 5 levels of attachment by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And I will probably be doing a lot more talking about that because it's really good stuff. You could just read the book yourself and forget about me, and you'd be benefited from that greatly. But I'm still gonna whatever. Come listen to me talk. It's fun. But in the 5 levels of attachment, he talks about how we've got choices, and so like part of this story, he was telling about how like if you look out and like I don't know if he said it specifically or if this is the way I envisioned it, but so you're standing there, and if you imagine a compass, there's 360 degrees in a circle, right? So every degree all around you, 360 degrees. Those represent all of the directions that you can go in. And that's, we're using this example. So really there's an infinite number of points that you could go in all around you. But 360 degrees, let's say there's 360, any moment, there's 360 options for you to choose from. And you make a choice, and some of those choices are going to be on a scale of harmful to beneficial, but you make a choice and you go. And every time you make that choice, now you're presented with 360 degrees of new options to choose from. And so I was thinking about that, how it doesn't matter which option you choose. All roads lead to Disney World. I've heard that. Have you heard that? If you and I, wherever you are right now, if you and I both left where we are right now and headed towards Disney World, we would end up in the same destination, but we'd get there through different ways. Even if we might, if you're in Vermont, we might both meet up on the New Jersey Turnpike and head down the rest of the way. Disney World's Florida, right? Not land. Land is California, so we're going to Disney World. But we can all get there no matter where we start from, but we're going to take different roads. And does the method matter? Not so much. So in this example, there's probably routes you could take that would be less efficient, less practical, but that still get you there. And maybe there are some methods that you could take that wouldn't get you there at all. Maybe because I could swim. I could go down to the coast and swim down to Florida, and that's not practical, it's not efficient, and I probably wouldn't survive it. Somebody might be able to, but I wouldn't. I definitely would not. So some of the methods might not be practical because you can't commit yourself to them, and that's where the commitment comes in. So does the method matter if you choose yoga or mindfulness meditations, guided meditations, or qigong exercises, or Joe Dispenza, or Wim Hof breathing is a good one as well. There's a lot of different methods, all these different types of counseling. There's all kinds of different methods. If you choose, whatever method you choose, does that matter? It does to a little bit to make sure that it's going to be successful, but really, no matter what it is, as long as it's not something that's going to harm you, the method is good if you can commit to it. And so this brings me to my third point that I felt was synchronous to this to this mindset, to this thought process. And so I was watching a video, as I was exercising this morning, I was watching a video from Jeff Cavaliere, Athlete X on YouTube. If you're into nutrition, sports science, exercise, all these things, Jeff Cavaliere is a professional trainer. He's got a master's degree in physical training and nutrition. I don't know what all his credentials are, but he's studied in it, and he's got a long history of practice in it professionally. And if you look at him, he's fit. For me, that's the biggest thing. I look at this guy. I don't care what his degree is in. I don't care what he's trained in. I look at him. I say, whatever he's doing is working for him. His method is working. So I'm not the same guy, but if his method works so well for him, maybe it could work for me too. So that's the kind of thing. But he was doing one of these answer questions kind of thing, and he talked about how, or maybe it was one, I don't know. I watched a couple of his videos while I was lifting weights. This one's, my arm's bigger, my right arm, that's stronger. I'm right-handed. So what was I talking about? So he's talking about nutrition and saying like diets don't work. He said no matter what, diets don't work because it's for a short period of time. It's limited. It's cutting things out. It's not focusing on the overall picture. And so diets don't usually work. The thing that works is a healthy, balanced eating approach. And so he doesn't get into all this stuff like you got to restrict this and you can't eat this ever and you can eat this sometimes. And he doesn't get into that. He says, find stuff that you'll eat that is good for you and then eat that. And because that's something you can commit to. And so this was the third part to this. This method doesn't matter. It's commitment that counts. Synchronicity for me. And it ties into stop recovering, start living. What I'm saying, I'm not saying stop doing anything related to changing the behavior, but I'm saying don't focus. Whatever we focus on is what we become. And so sometimes we're choosing these methods, like we're going on a diet, and it's impractical. It's too much. It's too extreme. For me, exercising has often been, I try to do too much at the start and hurt myself, and I fall out of it. I got to be able to be consistent with it and committed to it. So it's got to be something I enjoy doing, something that's working for me that I see results with, and then something that I can stay consistent and committed to. And so that's why we don't want to focus on going to meetings and being in recovery or being on a diet, because we want to focus on living our life in a healthier way. So the method, whatever the method is that you're going to get to that healthy life, it's got to be something that you can be consistent with, and it's got to be something that's balanced and natural for you. So for me, introducing qigong took a while. Really, if you look at the big picture, it took a few years to get it into a consistent commitment from me. But once I got it there, it fits into my life, it's convenient, it's practical, and it's efficient. And so for me, it's working. And so we got to find those methods and work them into our lives, but it becomes a part of our life. Remember, we're changing old conditioning that's not serving us and introducing new conditioning that is serving us, but maintaining intentional awareness with that conditioning so that we don't fall into the autopilot scripted mode where we're not exercising our choice. We want to maintain freedom of choice and will, and that's through conscious awareness and intentional behavior, and let go of the scripted modalities of the past that we're done with those things. We're moving on from that. So the method, whatever you can commit to, and it is no easy. I can't say you're committed to this, you're committed to that. You've got to try them out. It's going to take some time. And so that's where we got to get out of this mindset of, oh, I tried and I failed. No, you tried and you didn't like it. So now try something else. And that's where the success is gonna come, is when you have a growth mindset of, I can't do this today, but if I practice at it, I can probably do it tomorrow. And if I can't, I'll find something else and I'll try it, and I'll keep trying until I find what works for me and I can be consistent with it. But you got to give it an honest try. You can't do it one day. Oh, I lifted weights today and my muscles didn't get any bigger. I guess this isn't going to work for me. Or I tried running and I only ran to the end of the driveway and I was out of breath. You've got to put the effort into it. You got to work on it. This video is way too long. I'm not going to be able to put my fade in and fade out on it, which is too bad. I like doing that because it just cuts off the very little beginning and ending part. Oh well, I gotta get some better software for this. I guess now since I'm over the time, it doesn't matter how long I talk for. Well, I'm done. So that's my thoughts on that. Method doesn't matter. Commitment is what counts. Method matters so far as it's something that will benefit you in the long run, but if you're not committed to it, doesn't matter how successful it would be if you don't do it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Good luck to you and all that you do. Bye. Not luck, but like well wishes. I don't know how to say that. Bye.